you have to not just listen, but you have to develop that skill to listen and ask the right questions and dig into the right answers. So you have to observantly listen.
Yo, Space Gang! Welcome to a brand new episode of the BK Space Show. I am your host, the BK Space, and I'm here with my very lovely co-host,
Novacaine, baby.
Yeah. Hey, thank you guys for coming back through, man. We had some really good episodes these past few weeks, and
Yes.
today is gonna be no different. I'm not gonna really do like these super long intros like we normally do, but we are gonna, before we get into the show, I would like to do a little bit of maintenance. You know how we do here.
You know.
So, Nova, you got it? Can you get this one this time?
I'm gonna try my best.
Let's go.
To find all of our content, you will want to go to www.thebkspaceshow.com. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, The BK Space Show. Find us on Spotify, The BK Space Show. Twitter, The BK Space Show. Anywhere you need to find us, just pick it up. Also, when you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, please leave us a written review and a 5-star rating.
Fast.
It don't have to be 5 stars. I'm okay with like what's the word?
Like a 3-star,
No.
a 4-star.
No, constructive criticism. That's what I was
Constructive.
looking
Oh,
for.
I didn't know we were looking for star rating. I thought we were. Oh, you know what? We got it out the way. You said it right. I did it.
I legit had a brain fart just now. But yeah.
That's all.
Okay,
I was there.
Constructive criticism. So if you don't want to leave us a 5-star because you're not feeling us, just tell us. We okay, we big. We could take it.
Yeah, because leaving us ratings and reviews lets us know which way we need to grow next. So every piece of feedback is important to us.
Yes.
Every listener is important to us. Every viewer is important to us. If you're looking on Facebook or YouTube, you can see our beautiful faces. What's up? Anyway, on today's show, you know what? Before I even tell y'all, well, we got a really great guest. I'm going to tell you now. We got an interview coming up with a Hannah Pillow, and she's representing her podcast, Refreshingly Human, and we're going to be talking about communication barriers. So it's going to be a really great show. It was a really great interview, and we really want you guys to listen in and learn some shit, because you definitely can with us, because that's what we do here.
That's what we do.
And you know what? Last week, and I'm gonna ask you about how you feel about this Lil Nas X thing, because a whole bunch of people was talking about it, and I didn't really initially want to talk about it because I feel like that's not really my MO. Like, for me, nothing against him, he's just not my type of music for real. Even though I did enjoy his first song, it was pretty cool, it was kind of fun, but he's been in some controversial situations.
I kind of feel like
Last
his
couple
entire career has been pretty much surrounded about controversy, because when he had the Old Town Road, there was controversy about, he can't be a country singer because this is a rap song. But it was more of like something in the middle. And that's why he had to get Billy Ray Cyrus on the remix so it could get pushed into the country genre. So there's always been some type of controversy behind him.
I can agree with that.
I honestly, truly believe that he figured out a way to have another number one hit single. He just hit number one on the Billboard charts a few days ago. And this is his second number one hit single right after Old Town Road. And what people don't understand is that when you hit something that high, you're probably going to go through all types of things to figure out a way to get that status again.
Yeah.
He's already got controversy behind him because he's openly gay. So there's already that there.
I think it's less about him being openly gay and more about him being openly gay in the hip hop community,
in the hip hop
realm, in the genre, whatever you want to say, because that's always been a issue, especially for us in the Black community. It's like it's a masculinity thing
men.
there.
Yeah.
We
definitely
have
for men,
because hip hop is a very at one point, hip hop in its origins was a very masculine genre, especially around its infancy.
And
macho, a lot of machoism.
I don't understand why people associate homosexuality with softness. Because
I don't know. That's kind of, it doesn't make sense.
Just because he's homosexual doesn't mean he's less masculine or he's not masculine at all.
That's true.
He just has a attraction to the same sex. Yeah. So I don't know.
So is he gay or bi? Because I thought is he bi?
I think he's just gay.
Okay,
I didn't see anything about him being bi, but that's another conversation. But so I really feel like he thought of a way to get people talking.
Yeah. But you know what?
Just go off. Just to put his thoughts into the artistic way that he thought would make him blow up even more.
Yeah, I can respect the art of it all because he did exactly what art does. Is you put out your vision, no matter what you thought your vision was, and then you let the community kind of figure out what it is. And I know we had. For those that don't know, he put out a video where at the end of the video, the part that sparked the controversy was at the end of the video, he gave a lap dance to a CGI Satan.
Well, it's actually a man in a suit.
So it's a man in a suit because I read CGI. I mean, I saw the video. I thought it was like, that's a really convincing CGI.
Well, the whole video is CGI.
Yeah. So at the end of the video, he gave the lap dance to the devil, and the religious community.
Wait. He also killed the devil and took his crown.
I was gonna get to that. I think the messaging at the end. Well, first of all, it's a whole thing. The video is a whole thing, and that's not the only thing we should be focusing on in the video. But that's the biggest thing because religion. So yeah, at the end, he did kill the devil and take his spot. Now, this is the thing that's annoying. And from my opinion, my corner of the world, because I do have a religious statement here, so bear with me. I'm a little religious. Dang. Anyway, so I think the messaging was basically, fuck what you thought about me. I can take whatever it is and then turn it into a positive, basically. And so this is where my opinion comes in, where it's a flawed statement. You can't kill evil with evil and then expect it to not be evil.
That's
and see,
true.
The way people kind of was saying this is what he did, he turned it to a positive. A negative is a negative if it's a negative. So it's not really like you can be like, oh, I killed Satan and now I'm taking over hell and I won't be the same Satan that the original Satan was. It doesn't work that way. So theoretically it wouldn't work. You know what I'm saying? And that's like my only issue. Like, don't try to make it seem like he's some sort of hero here, because in the video, I'm talking only in the video, because in the video that's not the message that was perceived. It wasn't a well thought out plan. It was a well thought out video, but the goal, it
was a thought out plan, because
I'm saying the goal itself,
for
what people think it was, is really not that much of a victory, because you're still Satan, so you're still evil.
He's the new Satan. So what you're trying to say, right?
Yeah.
And then what threw me off is the devil shoes that, came with. That's what really threw me off, because honestly, I was going to trip. I'm not even tripping off of the blood, the one drop of human blood. I'm not tripping off of that.
It's weird, but it's whatever.
The reason why I'm not tripping off of that is because humans buy diamonds every day. How much blood is spilled over diamonds? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Let's not even talk about the sacrifices that people go through and make these blood sacrifices. So I didn't really like trip off of that, but it was the pentagram for me.
Yeah, I'm not okay with the satanic art here. I'm not. That's just me being. It makes me uncomfortable, just as a whole, because of what these things represent. You know what I'm saying?
But when you think about it, just about every decade we have something like a satanic art.
Oh yeah, it's literally everywhere. And when I see it, that doesn't mean I can't listen to the art or listen to the music. It, from a personal standpoint,
I'm gonna be the first to say it. I like the song.
Oh, I mean, I ain't really vibe with the song, because I like the song. I'm not his demographic when it comes down to music. So I mean, that doesn't mean I can't like a song because I'm not in the demographic. I mean, I'm not in the demographic of Steven Universe, and it's like one of my favorite shows. So, it just wasn't for me. I mean, and then I was cheerleading for the cat at the beginning when he first dropped, because I felt like if he says he want to be a country singer and he made the song as a country song, then he's a country song and he deserves to be in
the only country song that's been released. Like, he also had another song after that. I can't remember the name of it, but it definitely didn't have a country vibe to it.
Yeah.
Then Panini, I really like Panini. That's definitely not a country song. That's definitely like a hip hop song.
Yeah.
And then Montero, Call Me By Your Name. Whole time, that's his first name.
Yeah, it is his name. I've done some research. I mean, like I said, I'm not really dipping and dabbing in it like that. But my only thing, my biggest issue.
Where he got Lil Nas X from now?
I don't know. One of my biggest issues with the song, well, not the song, but him as a person. This is the thing. I know we are comparing him to like all the old school rock songs that does the double stuff, which I know that exists, and I don't really listen to it either. But I know it's there. Movies and things, and I think he's been compared to Madonna a few times from people that was like, well, Madonna was doing wild shit too. Yes, she was, but see, the difference here is she did her wild shit and then moved on. Like, when she did her wild shit, it stood for the art, and she ain't say not much about it afterwards. You know what I'm saying? It was like, I did it, you saw it, I hope you enjoyed it, next single. He, on the other hand, he is continually to troll the community. I guess that's, and I'm like, I know people like to
is that because of what time we are in now? That's what people want to do now. They want a social media like presence where they want to feel, because honestly, he might be feeling miserable down on the inside with all of the heat that he's having, and then he got this Nike lawsuit. Like,
yeah, I can imagine.
Sure he's extremely stressed, but
you continue to throw flames on the fire, and if you want to do that, that's fine. I'm not saying you can't do that, but I'm just saying when it came down to the great artists that came before him, whether they were black, white, rock, hip hop, whatever it is, you have to let your art stand for itself. The moment an artist, even a painter, the moment they come out and then they define the art for you, it doesn't have the same.
Job.
Yeah. And then that's why everybody's explaining the video, and he's explaining the video to a degree. And I'm like, don't. Just let your art stand. Stop talking about it. It's art. We'll get it. It's subjective. You pull from whatever it is you want to.
Subjective. That's
Don't defend his art. Don't argue against his art. You just let his art stand for art and for art's sake, and move on. Anything else to add to this before we move on?
No, that's pretty much you. I think we done hit everything on the head because we talked about him trolling. It's hilarious. Yeah. I'm sorry. I find it funny to the mud. Especially the one thing when he goes, y'all said all gay people gonna go to hell, and then I go there.
Oh, you know what? And this is my last thing on it, and then we're gonna move on to the interview. I keep seeing a lot of people saying like religious people hate you, or they hate you, and they're saying you're going to hell. No, that is a misinterpreted message. Now, do Christians believe in a lot of other religions also? Do they believe that same-sex relationships and having sex with the same guy or female, doesn't matter, is going to lead you to hell if you're being gay? Yes, a lot of religious people do believe that. But it's not a lot of preachers are not going to sit here and be like, you personally, because you're gay and I can't stand you and I hate you. No, a real preacher is going to tell you what he read, how he interpreted it, and then he's going to move on, because it is not his job. And I said this on the last show, it is not his job to judge you. That's not his job. His job is only to deliver the message in the way he received it and understood it. Now, whether he delivers the message wrong or misleads other people into knowing the message wrong, then that is something he has to account for in his own soul. But as far as the message goes, he should not tell you that he hates you because you're gay. If you want to go to church and you gay, take your ass to church. He can't stop you.
Period.
If you want to believe in God, believe in God. He can't stop you. Trust me, God don't hate you because you're gay.
Facts.
Now, whether you believe gay is a sin or not, that's a totally different thing. But God don't hate you for that.
It's not bigger than the other sin. We all sin.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. Like, if I lie today, then I just sinned. So
you just sinned.
So I still go to the same hell everybody else go to.
I know this is a little bit off topic, but if you worry, if you're sitting there, you have this so much faith in God, and you're sitting there worrying, that's a sin.
Right. Like, I know we digging heavy into theology right now, and we're definitely going to do an episode in the future about this, because we definitely got different views and opinions about a lot of things. But from what I've learned and what I've experienced, I've seen plenty of gay people. I've seen plenty of people that cheated. I've seen plenty of liars. I've seen plenty of people that steal. And you got plenty of politicians out here that all go to church and believe in God, and God doesn't hate not one of them. And I'm sorry for being on my religious tip right now, and I'm about to get off this soapbox like right now. So make sure, I'm about to end the damn show. No, we can't end the show right now. As promised, we are going to talk to Hannah Pillow from Refreshingly Human podcast. So stay tuned, don't go anywhere. Check out this interview, it's gonna be great
right now.
Okay, Space Gang, as promised, we have a very special guest, probably like one of our most favorite people. I think it's okay for us to say that. We have Hannah Pillow from Refreshingly Human podcast. Welcome to the show, Hannah.
Hi. So honored to be your favorite person.
Yeah, we like
both of us.
Yeah, she's definitely. We've been talking about having this since like February, having you on since February. So this is cool for us. And so as promised, we're going to talk about personal communication. So we're going to jump right in because I know you got to go and you got other things because you're a very busy person. So.
Or bad at scheduling things, maybe.
We'll accept that too. Personal communication. Like, can you explain to the Space Gang what that is?
Yeah, absolutely. So, actually, just to let you guys know, I had a practice round of talking about communications on another podcast, and I was like, now I'm all prepared for this one. So you get the more rehearsed one. No, jokes aside. With personal communication, I think that we often confuse communication barriers as being able to communicate with someone in the same language, but that is not always the case. We're communicating in English, we're communicating in our first languages. Personal communications is the way that we communicate with people. I like to say in our inner circle because it's personal. Obviously, we communicate with people all the time, and that's something we need to look at as well. But I always feel like it starts with your inner circle and observing those habits first before we can look at what we're doing outside of that. And I would go even one step further, that the personal communication would start at its roots with your own internal communication with yourself before anyone else.
Well, that was interesting. I wouldn't even have put two and two together like that.
You have to communicate with yourself. You have to understand yourself so others can understand you. I like that.
Absolutely. I just learned something.
You see, that's why I was pressed for Hannah, you see?
Well, I mean, like RuPaul says, if you can't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love anyone else? I like to take that a step further and say, if you can't trust yourself, if you can't talk to yourself, how the hell are you going to communicate with anyone else?
Facts. Can I just say that I don't know anybody on this earth that don't like RuPaul.
Facts.
Like, I don't know. I've never heard anyone say anything negative about RuPaul. Great person. Nova, you got question number 2 though.
Yeah, I got it. So, what are some communication barriers, and why aren't we aware of them?
That is a great question. So I think that there's so many different barriers that come up, and I think maybe one of the most common ones would be that we don't listen. And I think that we speak to be heard, which obviously we want to be heard, but we also are not receiving messages. We're listening for our own benefit only, so we're not listening to understand. And I think that's one of the biggest barriers that we have to overcome, especially with personal communication. So recently on my Instagram page, I did a reel about when someone tells you that they're having a bad day and how people tend to react and how we should be reacting. And we'd always tend to react from our own point of view first. So if someone says, oh, my day is so bad, this happened, and that happened to me. And usually our first instinct is to say, oh my God, my day was so bad too. And that is an immediate block you're putting up, because you're not making that person feel heard. They're telling you something that really upset them, and you're just blocking them off by making it about you again. And I think that is one of the biggest barriers that we face, that we mostly, I think that a lot of us are not aware of that.
You know what? Recently,
so why aren't we? What makes you? Is it because we're all just selfish, or?
You know what? I think that we are, as human beings, we tend to think about ourselves the most. But I think that it's more than that. I think that personally, I think that we are not taught about communications. So I have a background in communications. I studied it in university, and I've always been a very keen observer of like humans, and communication has been a huge part of my life. It's been a barrier in a lot of my relationships, and it has been something I had to overcome a lot in my own personal life. And I think that because we are not taught about this, like in schools and at home, it's something we easily miss. You know, we are taught to communicate from, I would say, from our parents at first, because we mimic and we mirror their behaviors and their patterns, and then from our most immediate environment. So we are absorbing things that people have been doing for years without questioning it. So I like to say, just like how we're starting to question mental health, we're starting to challenge mental health, we're starting to change those barriers, I think the exact same thing needs to be done for communications, because we need to start questioning past behaviors that weren't working, and we need to start changing them.
Okay, so you mentioned barriers in your life just now. So was that the only barrier that you had to go in and correct, or what are some other barriers?
Oh my gosh, I wish that was the only barrier. That would have been so good. No, definitely wasn't the only barrier. I've had to overcome quite a lot of different things in my life. So I'm not sure if I mentioned to you guys before, but I lost my dad at a very young age, at the age of 6.
Sorry.
Yeah, he was actually, murdered in a shop robbery.
Wow.
It sounds very, I guess it was very brutal.
That is brutal.
Yeah, it was. And so that was like one of the first and earliest things in my life that I had to, I would say, you know, you have to, first of all, I was 6 years old. I didn't even know what grief was. And so that was a lot I had to overcome with the grief and the depression, and then the anxiety that stemmed from the depression. And it was just like a whole lifelong thing for me that I've only really could say that I've focused on moving forward in the last few years of my life, where I actually became in a better mindset, where I could actually work on myself. And not just the mindset, but I was also in a safe environment and around people that I felt safe with, so I could actually start focusing on Hannah, doing the Hannah work, and, you know, moving forward. And I think that is one of the reasons right now that I'm so passionate about communications, because the people in my inner circle right now, I can have the most open communication with them. I can speak to them the way I've never spoken to people in my life, and it makes our relationship so much more honest and easy. You know, it's just like, think about your friend group, for example, right? I'm not sure what it's like with guys, but like, I know, like, generally with women, we tend to be very insecure in our female friendships. I don't know, have you felt that way? And there's a lot of things that we hold in our head that, oh, this person's better than me because that's what they show, you know, that's what you can see, that's your perception. Now I'm in such a group of friends that we can actually openly discuss our insecurities with each other and get it out there, and then be like, oh my God, you and I were thinking the exact same thing. This is crazy. Let's get on with life.
Yeah.
Whereas in the past, I would hold on to things inside, and I would think something's wrong with me, and I would never bring it up with the other person. And that again would be a huge communication barrier, because what we think in our minds is our reality, but doesn't mean it is the reality for everyone else.
So you mentioned earlier about the thing where you say your day is going bad, and then somebody else said mine too. How do you, because I've experienced that a lot, especially here recently, it happens all the time. So how do you say, hey, we were talking about me, can we get my stuff first? How do you do that without sounding like an asshole for
I feel like you just say it.
That's a tough.
I would just say it. Like, hold up now. I understand you having a bad day too, but can we finish on me first? Because that's what we started with.
I mean,
now let's move on to you. Like, we might even have things. I might say something that might help out with your bad day. You might say something that help out with my bad day, but just let me go first.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it. Absolutely. I think I've not personally been very good with that, because I have like a select group of people that I confide in, that I know hear me. And if I find myself confiding in someone outside of that, and they're not receptive of it, I tend to just drop the conversation, which I shouldn't do. That is definitely something I shouldn't do, something I need to work on. But exactly what you said there, Novacaine, you need to, I would say, direct the conversation back to yourself as gently as you can. You can even full circle it. Like, I know I have done this before, is where I'd make it about them for a while, because you know what? Maybe they having a worse day than me. I don't know. Maybe their mental health is in a worse place. So I'll make it about them for a while. I'll get it all out, and then I'll be like, okay, can we talk about me now?
Yeah, and I'm like that too, because I'm like the type of person that want to make sure everybody else around me is good, and then I neglect myself a lot. So that this whole conversation is actually really fascinating to me, because it's not that I don't know how to redirect the conversation. It's kind of hard to do so. It's like, okay, because I'm so used to like everybody bringing me their stuff, and then I just kind of wear it for them in a sense.
That's heavy. That's a heavy thing to carry. I used to be like that as well, and it's, I think that you start feeling it because you need to offload as well. So like, backing up, we said that are human beings selfish at heart, and I think that it's not that simplified, because we all have that instinct to protect the people we love, to make room for them, to make sure they okay as well. Yeah. So I think that it's finding that balance in that communication, whereas we want to talk about ourselves, but we also want to listen to what the other person is saying as well. And I think, I don't know about you guys, but I think that podcasting really helps with improving your listening skills.
Yes,
it absolutely does.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, like for me, I'm like, okay, let me hear. Oh, you was about to say something. Let me cut myself off real quick.
You're like super tuned in, for sure.
And you have to, you like, as a podcast host, you have to not just listen, but you have to develop that skill to listen and ask the right questions and dig into the right answers. So you have to observantly listen. And if you can apply that observant listening to everything else in your life, you would see an amazing impact. Yeah. I'm all about cross-learning. I don't know if you ever heard about the book, The Art of Learning.
No, I haven't.
Well, it's interesting. It's an interesting book. It's really about this guy who became like a world chess champion and how he got there. But what I took away from that book is that what he learned to become a chess champion, he used the same kind of mindset of learning to apply it to become, I think, like some sort of martial arts expert afterwards. And I just realized that cross-learning is such an important thing in our lives. We can apply our skills everywhere and anywhere. The art of learning is just amazing. If you don't know how to do something, all you got to do is learn how to do it.
That is true.
And apply it.
I do that like all the time, just learning random things and trying to apply.
And just try to apply them. Yes, most definitely.
It's a good skill to acquire, I think.
Definitely.
You got the next question, Ovi. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the next question is going to be, how did you handle communication barriers?
Ooh, yeah, that that is a good one. So I would say that in the past, I definitely didn't handle communication barriers, and it definitely ruined a lot of relationships. But one thing I do want to stress, like, about these barriers is it also depends on the people that you are trying to communicate with and the environment that they're coming from. So
Yes.
it can play a vital way to the way we communicate with those people. So for example, I grew up in South Africa. I'm currently in the UK for the listeners, but I grew up in South Africa. I'm South African, and the culture back home with communication is very close. And actually, I think that this is not just South African culture. I think that this is just like the older school generation. They tend to have a lot more close communication, a lot more authoritative communication. So it's like, you know, like top down hierarchy, you know, you listen to your elders, and there's no two-way dialogues going on.
Nope.
And
Yeah.
exactly. So I had that kind of relationship with my mom growing up, and there was a lot of barriers there. But then the problem happened was when I got married into my first marriage, I started getting a lot of the same barriers with my ex-husband, because that was also kind of like authoritative relationship where he was like the head of the house and I had to listen to him. And you know what? I am not that type of girl. Don't go telling me what to do.
Right.
I like that.
I can dig
I like that.
That did not work out well. But it also really got me to observe this specific type of communication and how it wasn't for me. And it taught me how to communicate with these people, because of course I had to at some point reach them, both my ex-husband and my mother. They were important people in my life. I had to reach them somehow, and I managed to reach my ex in a way, it's so funny, but I managed to convince him in his own language. So language being English, we both spoke English, but when I mean in his own language, in his own communication style, I managed to convince him that we were not right for each other and we should part ways. So I managed to, you know, break that barrier into kind of understanding how he was thinking, where he was coming from. And it wasn't like, I felt like if I had to approach that conversation from a point of blame and say that you doing this and you're not right and you making me so unhappy, that conversation would have been met on blank ears. But instead, I changed the dialogue into a we conversation and into like, this is not working out for both of us. We're both trying to change each other into something we're not. We both have different expectations of what a wife and a husband should be. I don't think this is working us out for both of us. So I changed that dialogue, and it worked. It really did work.
That's a smooth way. I'm gonna start using that tactic now.
Yeah,
me too.
Part of my thing now.
Well,
Me too.
I was
Because
quite.
I have this. I kind of feel that everything that you've said so far, Hannah, I've just been thinking like, she's literally speaking my life right now. Like, I haven't been married yet, but like everything else with the communication barrier and just not being able to communicate with your family and your friends, and failing friendships and relationships because there's a barrier. I need to use that, because it's not just that I think when you're in a friendship or a relationship, you can clearly see that it's not working out for the both of you.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely using that.
Yeah, definitely.
As soon as my fiance and I like have a misunderstanding or whatever, I'm going to say, well, we both are in a disagreement here.
What can we do about
What
it?
can we do about it?
Yeah.
Because it can't just be one.
Absolutely, especially if you are a team, right? And I, even at that point with my divorce, we weren't no longer a team. We were quite toxic for each other, but we were still a unit. We were still married, and we were still in that together. You know, we both had to decide that it wasn't working for it. Well, technically, because of the cultural background I came from, he had to be the one to divorce me. Don't even ask.
I'm not. It happens, okay?
But
it happens.
Yeah, but yeah, so that's why it was
But
even
you
more
guys
important.
came to a conversation to an agreement. It wasn't like an ugly divorce, because some people get divorced and it's super ugly. So that's great that you guys were able to have these conversations.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not even talking about all of the screaming matches we had up until that point.
Yeah.
The communicating part, the effective communication.
Yeah, because I can imagine that being a difficult process. Just as a whole. So, man, that's some powerful stuff. I think that's really, really powerful advice to have, especially for those listeners out here that are in these relationships where they don't know how to express that they want to leave, and it just gets worse and worse and worse for them in their situation. So
actually, I'm planning to go live on my Instagram this week to talk about making those difficult decisions, because this weekend I just came to a realization that I'm actually quite proud of myself for making those difficult decisions. I used to downplay it a lot and be like, people would say, oh, you're so strong. And I used to hate them saying that, because you don't feel strong. You feel like you did what you had to do, right?
Yes.
But someone I know and love is going through something similar to what I went through, and I can see how hard it is on her. And it's actually reminding me that, you know what, I was strong. I made the difficult decision. I got myself out, and that was not easy.
It's definitely nothing wrong with celebrating those things that you accomplished, no matter how big or small you think it is. I'm just recently learning this too. People compliment me on different things that I've done, and I kind of just say, it wasn't that big of a deal, but really, an accomplishment is an accomplishment no matter how big or small it is. And I think a lot of us go through those things in whatever situation it is, where we just kind of downplay ourselves in those moments.
It's facts.
Absolutely.
And we shouldn't be so hard on ourselves.
No.
Yeah.
I think this generation that we're in right now, everyone is just so hard on themselves, and we shouldn't be.
Yeah, the hustle generation, right?
Yeah.
The stressed out generation.
The stressed out generation.
We feel like we have so much to live up to from the past generation, because a lot of our parents, and we talk about our that generation of parents a lot, but they really were hiding so much from us, and we just didn't know the truth. And then as we became adults, they're like, oh, you're old enough to know that me and your dad had these issues, or me and your auntie was going through this, or me and your uncle couldn't stand each other. And I'm like, yo, why didn't you tell me that when I was like 12? And then I will be able to navigate relationships a whole lot better, because I know they're not supposed to be perfect.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But just going back quickly to your question about the communication barriers, that was the one I had with my husband, where I would say overcame that part of communicating with him to let go of the relationship. But there was later on in my life where I had to address my mom and our relationship as well, because we had a very rocky relationship for several reasons. I'm not even gonna get into that right now. And it came to a point where I could either completely cut her out of my life, or I could try to reach her. And that was a really difficult period in my life, because I felt like I've been trying to tell her for so long how I was feeling, and I wasn't reaching her. And I actually went for therapy for this. I sat with my therapist, and we drafted a letter that she reviewed over and over, and we changed and we edited. And she taught me something that I think everyone should look into. It's nonviolent communication. If you don't know what that is, you need to look it up. It is an amazing tool to use with people who are not hearing you well. And it's very much similar to what I said earlier, where I used the we with my ex. Here, it's not using you accusational statements to say that you are hurting me. You change your you statements to I feel instead. It sounds so like therapeutic, like cuckoo bananas, but it actually
it's true. You have to make those I statements are real, Those I statements are so real, because like you said, it sounds like when you always saying you, it sounds like an attack.
Yes.
It's attack, and we want to not attacked. So I had to like change my entire letter. And I'm telling you, like the amount of drafts and redrafts and rewrites this letter went through before it actually got out. It was like, I feel like it was like a work of art on my part.
So you and your mom are now at a good
we're in a better
communication?
place. I wouldn't say we're in like the good communication or the best communication, but
there is some
much better place.
Okay.
A much better place. Yeah.
That's good.
I think like there would be, because of like generational gaps and issues, and also like my mom is a very super religious person and I'm a very not religious person. There's just gonna be a lot of barriers that we
right there
are gonna have that go beyond communication. But I think that we've managed to come to a place where we can accept each other as we are, and I'm not going to push it any more than that.
Yeah, I can dig it.
I can understand, especially
I can dig it.
going through things with your parents is really difficult to do. I've been there. It was very hard communicating with my parents as well, because of they see things in a very, I don't want to say archaic, even though mentally that's how I feel. They got an old school, let's say old school way of living about some things.
Yeah.
And I don't agree with it all the time, so it can become a daunting experience when it's
the baby boomer way of raising children and thinking and just living life is completely different from how we look at life and want to go through it, and it should be that way. Each generation should be different.
Let me tell you a funny story just from yesterday. I was actually just speaking to my mom yesterday on the phone, and she was skirting around a topic, and I knew she wanted to ask me, but I just ignored it. And this topic was, she kept telling me how everyone around is having babies. She's like, oh, this person has a baby, and this person has so many grandchildren, and this person has so many grandchildren. And I'm like, oh, that's nice. And I'm like, I'm not even going to tell her that her 33-year-old daughter decided to wait another 3 years before I even have a kid. I'm not even going to tell her that. Like, I'm not even...
Don't even tell her. Don't even...
I can't say anything about that, but my parents are the same way. But I'm already too deep, so I'm too deep getting into it. So
I am blessed to have a mom that's not pressuring children on me. She's like, if you don't want them, you don't want them. I don't think everyone should have children. She already told me that a long time ago. I don't think everyone should have children. It's life changing. There's no going back. And like she told me, shut up. If you want them, you want them. If you don't, you don't. It's okay.
I love your mom. Your mom sounds so woke. Not everyone should have children. Hell yeah. Totally agree. totally agree.
All right. So we have to move on. So
let's do it.
Can we talk about Refreshingly Human real quick?
Yeah, for sure.
I've listened to a couple of episodes, and I love the vibe. You have like this really laid back vibe about giving your information and teaching. I would say teaching. That's the best way to describe it. So if you're new to your podcast and you want people to listen, how would you describe your podcast?
Yeah, so Refreshingly Human is a space where I want people to feel safe about the human experience. So it's refreshingly honest, refreshingly real, and refreshingly human. So you're gonna come there and you're gonna just hear very open and honest conversations. And I like to ask questions that maybe people might be afraid to ask, because I want to dig into the honest, real human experience. I find that we, like you said, we come from this generation that's so stressed out, and everyone wants to put their best face forward, but we don't actually look at the human behind the stories, right? We all had a lot to overcome to get to where we are. And I see that in myself a lot. A lot of people look at me and they're like, oh, you're so confident, you're so blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, but I used to be a wreck.
Right?
And also, I still can be a wreck.
You still have the moment.
I still have my moments.
All right, so Space Gang, at this point in the show, you know how we like to do things. We like to ask people about their top 5. For those of you that don't know where this comes from, I was watching the movie. It was the Chris Rock movie. It was called
Yeah.
Top 5. And in the movie, he asked everybody their top 5. And I thought it was pretty interesting to know everybody's top 5. Usually it's top 5 hip hop, but we're expanding ourselves. And that means everybody's not going to listen to hip hop all the time. So for today, we're going to ask Hannah what her top 5. Well, you know what, Nova? Go ahead and ask a question.
What are your top 5 artists of all time?
There we go. Oh, so I would say Eminem, Linkin Park,
Okay.
TLC,
Okay.
Destiny's Child, and Pink. Definitely Pink.
10-year-old me is screaming.
Right, that's actually a really good list, because you know what? I know a lot of guys don't admit this type of stuff, but you know what I'm saying? I really like Destiny Child. And
Yeah.
Cater to You is probably like one of my favorite songs of all time.
Oh, I bet it is.
I'm just gonna be real. I'm just gonna be honest. I did watch that stage performance when they did the little lap dance. It was nice.
They did that like in every concert that they had, like at that time.
They did.
I actually just found the Destiny's Child live in Atlanta. It was their last tour as Destiny's Child, and they pulled men out of the audience and brought them on stage and did the lap dance too. I love me some Destiny's Child. Like when I say 10-year-old me is screaming, I mean 10-year-old me is screaming with that top 5.
I like the original
I
group
think I've
better
had
though.
like albums from all of them.
You had
with Latoya and Latavia.
Those were my favorite 2 members, man. I'll be real. I was in love with them, and when they was out the group, I was like, no. But then
You
you
did
know,
say Eminem. I wanted to confess something about Eminem. So I know I give a lot of heat. Our listeners know that I give a lot of heat to Eminem. A lot of people that follow me on social media know I give a lot of heat to Eminem. But I have to give it to him. Like those first 3 albums were gold. Those first 3 albums were something that no one else was given to the game. It was different and it sold. People liked it.
So, I mean, for me, Eminem and Linkin Park were like my teenage angst, and Pink, my teenage angst music.
yeah.
Like, you know, like vibing as a teenager, like I hate the world, everyone hates me. That music was perfect.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah.
So as Jay-Z is in my top 5, I'm also a Linkin Park fan. So you know the Jay-Z Linkin Park collaboration
What
album.
was it called? Collision Course?
So yes, I think it was. That was like
Hannah, if you haven't listened to it, go back and
No,
listen to
I
it.
have.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
that was
Ooh,
that was top tier stuff right there.
ooh, amazing, legendary, iconic.
What was the lead singer name that recently? Chester? Was it Chester?
Chester, yeah,
Mhm.
Chester. Oh God, yeah, that was sad.
Going back to listen to, I think it's Numb.
Yeah,
And-
it hits
oh,
different.
man, it does.
It's so different. It's amazing though. Like even what's his name? Was it Robin Williams?
Mhm.
Was it Robin Williams or Robbie Williams?
Robin Williams, the one.
Robin, you're right, Robin.
Yeah, Robin Williams. Yeah, even with him, it's like they show so much how a person can look so successful but be struggling so
Yes.
much. We don't know. We honestly can never know what someone's
You
going
never
through.
know. That's facts.
Yeah, I think Robbie Williams is still alive though.
Yeah, I think he is. I just mixed their names up. They're 2 completely different people.
All right, so we won't get too drowned out and depress everyone with our music talk. Where can we find all? Are you back? Okay, she's back. Where can we find everything? Your Instagram, Twitters, whatever you got, just unload it on us so the Space Gang can find you.
Amazing. So you can find me absolutely everywhere. You can Google Refreshingly Human Podcast. You can go to refreshinglyhumanpodcast.co.uk. Recently updated my website. It's pretty awesome. Check it out. Refreshingly Human Podcast on Instagram and Refreshingly Human on Facebook. So it's basically Refreshingly Human everywhere. And if you want to find me on LinkedIn, it's Hannah Pillow.
All right, so Space Gang, you guys got all of that. Make sure you go check out the show. It is like the most. It's such a great show. It's informative and it's therapeutic all at the same time. I don't know how you pulled that off, but it is amazing. So please definitely go check out Refreshingly Human. It is one of my favorite podcasts. This is not hyperbole. It's not bullshit. I'm really being honest with you guys.
Facts.
Thank you.
All right, Hannah, we got to let you go. So, we'll be looking forward to doing more work with you. We know you got to get out of here. So we're definitely going to talk to you again. Be on the lookout for us on her show as well in the future. I don't know when that's happening, but
it's happening.
We're going to let you guys know because we got to show up on our favorite podcast. So, all right, Space Gang. Thank you guys for listening through our interview. Thank you, Hannah, for coming through.
Thank you, Hannah.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Space Gang. So you just got through listening to us ramble on and chat with Hannah Pillow from Refreshingly Human. I'm gonna keep saying that so you know the name of her podcast, so you can go check it out as well.
Yes.
So what did you think about the interview?
I love Hannah.
She is a great person. I dig her vibes, man. She got a really great personality. It's not often you meet people in the world where their personality just flows with yours, and she's just one of those people with like both of us, and it's crazy. Like I said in the interview, listening to her podcast is like the most therapeutic learning experience I've ever had in my life. It's weird. It's just weird. It's not weird that it's a podcast. It's just she does it so well, you know?
She does a great job. And like she said, she had studied in university for the communications. So I'm pretty sure she studied for a long time and just got this practice over time to just easily convey her messages. So I love Hannah. That was probably one of my favorite interviews so far, for sure. I mean, everybody's my favorite interview.
This is true. Like you so excited. You like, yo, we got such and such coming up. It's gonna be great. But I feel like Hannah feels like a friend. I think that's her communications. Yeah. That woman got smooth. She's smooth with it though. Like for real. I ain't want to say that going there. Like she was finessing. She got that finesse move with the voice. I was like, dang, I'm learning stuff. I don't even feel like I'm learning stuff. But anyway. Alright, Space Gang. So let us go ahead and hit up this maintenance real quick. Make sure you head over to www.thebkspaceshow.com. Make sure you go to Apple Podcasts, you go to Spotify, and check us out there at the BK Space Show. Our Twitter and Instagram and Facebook is the BK Space Show. You can find us everywhere at the BK Space Show. And before we go, make sure you do us that favor. Head over to, if you're on Apple and you can access it, because I know everybody ain't got an iPhone. I know. But if you do, listen to the show over there and make sure that you leave us a rating and a comment so we know which way the show needs to grow next. You got any closing thoughts?
That's everything today. I hope everyone's doing beautiful out there.
Before last thing, I know Hannah said Eminem in that top 5. Dear bro Demo, I know you watching. I know you was probably like, I know she did say no Eminem on this show. I know, because he be like that too about the Eminem thing. I'm not the only one that's been on this show that got, I don't want to say hate, because Eminem is very talented, but it's just I don't know. But anyway, you guys be cool. We're gonna be about this thing. Thank you for listening. I have been the BK Space, and this has been my very lovely co-host,
Novacaine.
We about this thing. We out. Y'all be cool.